Hey everyone, my name's Matt, and welcome back to Formula Foodie, a show about food, Formula One, and the ways I enjoy food culture around the world. This week we're exploring Spain as we travel to Barcelona for the Spanish Grand Prix. Today we'll be building a little tapas menu to try two different recipes. The first is patatas bravas. Similar to the potatoes that I cooked in our first episode here, but I'll also be preparing a nice little salsa that gets draped over them and adds a lot of fiery flavor to it. Second, I'll prepare what's known as escalivada, which is an assortment of different baked vegetables that will spread on some grilled toast to have a nice array of different sweet and acidic flavors for a well-rounded dish. Before we get to Spain though, we've got to talk about what happened last week in Monaco. With recent years proving to be a little less than entertaining, the FIA decided to throw in a little bit of fun to the mix and require a mandatory two-stop tire strategy. Now, I was cautiously optimistic about this. I knew that they were trying to introduce a little bit more jeopardy, a little bit more strategy, and certainly from the get-go it seemed like there were going to be a lot of different ways that teams could go. Unfortunately, this didn't really have the ground-shattering effect maybe the FIA was hoping for, and we kind of got back to more of the same from previous years. One teammate would back up the pack to allow the other one to get their pit stops in. Sure, it took a little bit more effort to get two, but it certainly didn't stop drivers from driving what George Russell said was dangerously slow in an erratic manner. Certainly that had nothing to do with the fact that he was stuck behind a Williams for 50 some odd laps before just driving through a chicane and saying, you know what, I'll just take the penalty, which, honestly, I think was the right thing to do. Not by disrespecting the rules, but by showing that if the FIA are not going to allow for some granularity there and are just going to be black and white about the rules, he'd rather take the penalty. And while I don't think Albon was trying to be dangerous, it certainly didn't allow for entertaining racing, and he even apologized himself that it maybe wasn't as entertaining as a real wheel-to-wheel racing scenario would have really been. Another team that really benefited from this was Racing Bulls. Isaac Hadjar benefited from Liam Lawson really just being a brick wall the entire first half of the race, letting Isaac get both of his pit stops in, and ended up letting them get some really good points for themselves. If you had asked me who would be faster this year between Liam Lawson and Yuki Tsunoda, I definitely wouldn't have said Isaac Hadjar, but that seems to be the case in a lot of these races. He is really extracting out a lot from this car and showing that he got second in the F2 championship for a reason. He's no slouch, and he's definitely making the best of what this car can give him and extracting everything out of this team. Now, I didn't come here just to complain about Monaco being the same. I still think there was some decent racing and a small amount of jeopardy. Lando Norris came in this week and proved that he is on top of his form. He's back to where he wants to be in qualifying, and he is showing that even Charles Leclerc, the Monaco kid, as it were, couldn't get past Lando. And that's no fault of his own, it really is the nature of the track, but he definitely let Lando know that he wasn't going to let him get away with just an easy processional win like Charles got last year. Still, Charles Leclerc getting a second place here really does help boost their points up, and although there may not be many tracks in the very near future that are going to suit that Ferrari as well as it does in Monaco, they can at least take some solace in knowing that Charles has definitely not lost his ability to extract the most out of his car. Hamilton, on the other hand, while still getting an admirable 5th place, couldn't quite shake the woes of having a less than desirable experience with his racing engineers so far this year. I'm looking forward to this week's race in Barcelona. However, it is sad to see that this may be the last year for a while that we'll have the race here, considering in 2026 there will be a street track race in Madrid. I'll reserve my judgment for now. Some of the more recent street tracks have delivered some pretty good racing, but it is sad to see a mainstay on the calendar get phased out for a while. The FIA will be tamping down on some flexi-wing restrictions, so we'll see if McLaren really were hiding performance there, or if everyone's just being as paranoid and competitive as usual. Our dish is really coming together as I tapas off with some little cloves of garlic. I'm so sorry, that was a painful joke. Really makes me feel a sense of existential dread. Come on, you like that one. Not even a griddle bit? As we stare at a little piece of art here, I'd like to thank you for coming along, and I hope you enjoy the Spanish Grand Prix. Have a good day. Peace.